became clear. His son had involved himself with a gang of ruffians to feed his out-of-control gambling addiction. How much and for how long? Georgia pointed to the folder she'd flung on his desk moments earlier. $250,000 since the commencement of the Times Square renovation. But there's an interesting twist. What kind of twist? The day after Andrew resigned, Alexandra transferred that same amount from her personal account to the company's general fund. What does Alexandra have to do with this? I don't know. I'm not even sure the two are connected. She'd simply marked the transaction as repayment. Have you spoken to either of them? Of course not. You made it quite clear. My job was to audit and report, not make accusations. I'm sure the thought never crossed your mind. William straightened his tie and spine to tamp down the storm brewing inside him. Betrayal by one child was bad enough, but it appeared Alexandra had known what Andrew had done and had covered for her thieving brother. That was unforgivable. Her complicity was an act he couldn't overlook. The last straw. You are to tell no one about what you found. Since all the money is back in place, I'll handle the matter personally. You're going to let them slide, aren't you? Georgia reloaded for another shot across the bow. You're blind when it comes to those two. What I do with my children is none of your concern because only a castle can correct a castle mistake. Am I making myself clear? Perfectly. William ordered Georgia out, activated the office intercom, and instructed Gretchen to get Robert Stein on the phone. Tell him it's an emergency. Minutes later, Gretchen connected Mr. Stein. Robert, thank you for returning the call. I need to change my trust, will, and beneficiaries to my business holdings immediately. Of course, William. May I ask what this is about? William was never one to discuss sensitive topics over the phone, preferring to meet people in person to gauge their responses and ensure a mutual understanding of the issues at hand. This situation called for a patented, vague answer, even to a friend of 40-plus years. Let's say my twins won't be pleased once all is said and done. Can we meet in your office in an hour? William disconnected the call, slumped back in his plush leather chair, and wearily regarded the picturesque view of Central Park that had taken him a lifetime to earn. Was it all a wasted effort if he had no child worthy of taking over what he'd built? Where did I go wrong? He ticked off in his head the things that needed to be done to settle this ugly matter. He'd already checked off one of the to-do items, summoning Alexandra to his office tonight to address the matter of her public disrespect. The rest of the list, though, was long and required special handling. Following a detailed call to his private investigator, he arrived promptly for his meeting at the law firm of Stein, Levy, and Keller. May I get you some coffee, Mr. Castle? 1 sugar, 1 cream with 2 English biscuits on the side, right? Asked Laura, Robert's personal assistant. Normally I would, but I need to get right down to business today. Laura escorted him into Robert's stately, masculine office before politely excusing herself and closing the thick oak door behind her. Surprisingly, his Parkinson's-ridden stride seemed steadier than it had been in recent weeks. His mounting anger was likely fueling his surge in energy, he decided. Robert greeted him with a firm handshake and directed him to sit with him at the 2 high-back black leather guest chairs. So, was this about the twins, William? I've unearthed some alarming information about them. Disturbing enough, I've decided that it's time to cut all ties. My will, their trusts, the company, everything. Robert leaned forward in his chair, placing both elbows on his knees and shifting from lawyer to friend. I've been your attorney for 37 years. Of course, I will follow any direction you give me regarding your legal matters. However, I've been your friend for longer, and I can't in good conscience do so without first making a very salient point. He gently tapped William's knee with a hand to emphasize.